Hello, my name is Penny and this is Penny's Art Emporium. I'm just setting up for a painting here and I just thought I would run through with you the things that I do before I start my painting. So I've got my canvas here. I've put pins in the bottom so that when the paint drips off the sides it won't stick to my surface. I have put my measure on here, spirit level, to make sure that in all directions my canvas is level, so that when the paint goes on, if it's slightly to the side, all my design will just be distorted. So that's all level. I've got all my tools ready here. I've got my straws, my palette knives, tweezers. Really important to have tweezers because there might be any little bits of fluff or little gloops from the paint that I might need to pick out. I picked this one out. This is just an experiment to see what would happen if in the centre of my flowers I just touch it down rather than a balloon. It might work, it might not, I don't know. I've got my sticks, so I've got all my tools ready. I have also got my ruler, so that because it's a heart design, I do try to make it symmetrical. It's a bit difficult because I'm looking at this angle, I'm not over the top and I can't lift it for it to be vertical for me to be able to see. So yeah, I've got my ruler just so that I can check, and I have actually got a much bigger ruler as well. I have got all my paints ready. I've got my white paint that I have put into these squirty bottles because it's easier for me to put it where I want it to be. And there's a little bit of paint left over in here where I mixed it, so I'll perhaps just use that up a little bit. And I have got my spiky pins, and this is just in case I store all my paints in these bottles, so when I take the lid off, I've checked all my lids, I've checked to make sure there's no kind of gloopy or crusty bits around the edge, but the pin is just in case when I am trying to squirt the paint out, if there is some kind of obstruction, and I can just remove that quickly with a pin. I've checked all my bottles, made sure that I've got enough paint for the painting, and I've also grouped them into the order that I'm going to need them in. So I've got my white, I've got my pastels that I will need next, and then I have got lots of different colours grouped together. So I've got reds, yellows, greens, purples, pinks, some whites and some oranges, and then I've got some darker colours that I don't use so much of because I don't like to have a really dark painting, but I do like to have a contrast. So I've checked that I've got enough paint mixed up and that all the nozzles are all free and they should flow quite smoothly. I've also got my balloons ready, which you can't see at the moment because I'm going to use my hairdryer in a minute and they'll blow away everywhere. So I've got lots of balloons, I've got some air balloons and I've got water balloons, and I've got little balloons and big balloons, so I've got those. I've also done a written plan of my painting, what I want to do to remind me the order that I want to do it in, and the colours that I think are good together, and the colours that I'm not so keen on together because it's going to be a flower painting. That's quite important, so I've done that. I've also got my hairdryer ready and plugged in, and I have also got some kitchen roll so that I can wipe anything I need to wipe, and also my palette knife so that when the paint drips around the edge I can just scoop the edges just to make it so that it's tidy. I've also put these puppy liner pads on the table and also on the floor, I do reuse them. I get quite a lot of use out of them. They're obviously completely clean when I use them the first time, and they get a little bit of paint on them. I'll perhaps turn them round when they're dry, and then also I'll put them on the floor when they're not really usable for the table anymore. And the other thing that I've done is I've made sure that I've got some fresh new tight fitting gloves, and these I do also reuse, but what I tend to do is make sure that for a new painting I have really very clean ones, because if, for example, I've done a very dark painting last time and I used the same gloves and on a white background, you know, you might just get some colour transference, or if the gloves were really caked up with paint, little flakes might come off into my painting, and I really don't want that to happen. So I feel like I'm really organised. I feel like I'm ready to go. I've also, one very important thing, I've put, because I film on my phone, I've put my phone onto flight mode, so that if anyone calls me or if anyone sends any messages or videos, I have noticed before that it does switch off my camera and it stops filming, which can be really irritating. And because my hands are full of paint, I'm not in a position to answer my phone. And my phone also will be on a stand, possibly quite high, and it's really not possible for me to answer it. I do have my watch, which is linked to my phone, so I can see sometimes who it is and if it's important, but it's just easier to have it onto flight mode. So I think I'm organised. The planning, I'm hoping if I've done all that right, it will make my painting so much easier to do. I've drawn out roughly the shape of my heart so that it would be roughly symmetrical, and now I will get started on that painting. So thank you for watching. I thought I'd just show you my preparation, and maybe it might help you if you were planning a painting and the things that you might need to do. So bye for now.